Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to your video review for Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. So, as always, I'm going to give it the good, the bad, and the furry. To start off with the furry, if you like monkeys like the kind from the show Friends, then you're in luck, because that's here. And, that's mostly about it. There's a short cameo of a donkey that, small but mildly entertaining part. So, anywho, moving on to the good and bad. So, this is a movie that stars the always win Johnny Depp, Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley, and Jeffrey Rush, along with the many other characters that many of them make appearances in the follow-on movies. So, this movie is excellent. 2 thumbs up. If you haven't seen this movie before, I highly recommend it to you. That being said, I know that there is a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean movies. And I want to say that with this one is the best by far. I think that 2 and 3, they lose a little something, but there's still enough there. And I don't remember if it's 4 or 5, but it just totally loses the plot. So, with this one, this came out, I don't know, 20 years ago or something like that. So it came out right around the same time that Lord of the Rings came out, the 3 original movies. So the CGI is on point. I do like that so much of what they did was practical effects. And I think that probably because of budget, they kept the CGI-ness to a minimum for the I don't want to say full CGI scenes, but the scenes where more of the people type things are CGI. I think they kept that to a minimum. Whereas I think that especially in 2 and 3, they went a little overboard with that. Not that it doesn't hold up. I haven't rewatched it in the past couple of years, but I remember the last time I did rewatch 2 and 3 that I was like, okay, no, the CGI, it still holds up. Like, it's still solid. But I do feel like that maybe the disconnect there is because there was so much CGI. Whereas in this one, yes, I'm sure. Yes, there was not obviously, but yes, there had to have been a fair amount of CGI for certain things that would not have been able to be accomplished without CGI, and I totally get that. But it wasn't about the CGI and the spectacle of that. It was about the characters, and I think that maybe that's what 2 and 3 lost. So with this one, the general storyline is Captain Jack Sparrow is a roguish, piratey goodness guy, and Orlando Bloom is a guy who doesn't like pirates, but he's a young, strapping young lad, and out on adventure type thing. And Keira Knightley is a governess's daughter who longs for adventure, and stories collide and hijinks ensue. So I really, really enjoyed this movie. I also felt like that it was more fun than the others because I don't know if they were planning for a sequel with this, but I felt like they weren't setting up anything for a sequel. Like, especially with how some of the side characters were played, I don't think that they had planned for them to be in sequels in the ways that they were. So I think that's why part of why this one was the best is because it was all within itself. And I'm not saying that the things in at least the next 2 don't make sense, because they do, but just some characterization and some actions and things that the characters took, especially if you notice, like in the Port Royal scene, like the first one, pay attention to what some of the characters are doing, and then if you've seen the other 2, think about like what some of those characters are doing in follow-on movies, and you'll be like, oh, yeah, so that's how those characters started out. Okay. But I think that we can all agree that probably the best part of this movie is Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is absolutely fantastic as Captain Jack Sparrow, and I think that this was peak Captain Jack Sparrow. You can let me know if you think 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 was Captain Jack Sparrow peak, but I think this one was, because it was neat to see him before everybody knew about him, to see him make this character. And so, his mannerisms is, oh, what's with all this type of thing. but it was clear that he was a very intelligent guy, and I think that that was one of the things that was most amazing about this to me is how he's able to just fully pull off this mannerisms and how he's doing things, but you still know that he's thinking. You still see the schemes within schemes and how he's doing things. And yes, he has a very fun personality, but with a lot of thought behind it, a lot of wisdom behind his actions there. And it's still a fun movie. If you watch Gladiator, then you'll be familiar with the Pirates of the Caribbean theme song because, you know, the composer stole from himself. Totally fine by me. He just jazzed it up a bit and then, boom, got the Pirates of the Caribbean theme. And it's awesome because the music is so memorable. It was memorable in Gladiator, but it is also especially memorable here and carries on for several more movies. And so the music is absolutely fantastic. Johnny Depp's fantastic. Orlando Bloom, loved him as Legolas in all instances of Legolas, and he was excellent in this movie. And Keira Knightley, always a badass motherfucker, so she's always a win. Jeffrey Rush, I really liked him in this. He was awesome. I think that, I especially like Jeffrey Rush in this. I do like him in some other movies that you probably know, but I thought he did a good job in this one, but I think he has been even better in some other movies. And yeah, I hope that you go and see this one, even if you don't necessarily like pirate movies. I think that adventure movies can totally nail this, as well as comedy, but not the, I'm not going to say Thor, Love and Thunder level of comedy, and probably not even quite Thor, Ragnarok level of comedy, but enough comedy where, you know, it's a fun, swashbuckling good time. And I think that a lot of people would enjoy this. And it's just great to see all the characters and the quips and the action that is involved, and the sword fighting is absolutely excellent. And like I said, with the realistic things that are going on with the actual real world things, you know, you could tell that there was an actual vessels on actual water, you know, sailing around. Yes, I'm sure during certain gunfights and what have you, things were enhanced, but it was done in a way that, you know, they added to, not just completely and only CGI. You know what I'm saying? I think you know what I'm saying. So, excellent pacing. I thought that it had just the right amount of runtime, and going to all these different locations was fun. And this is one of my favorite movies, and I think that it just holds up so well that hopefully you've seen it. Let me know what's your favorite Pirates of the Caribbean movie below, or what's your favorite movie with Orlando Bloom in it? I'm curious. If it's not Lord of the Rings and it's not this movie, what other movies have you seen him in that you really liked? Let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, that's all I have for this one. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you at the next one. Bye.